please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so we are back again for another episode of Hit or Miss, where I look at the first round draft picks from different NHL teams from 2005 through 2015 and determine if each pick is a hit or a miss. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Stars. So before we start, I just ask that you please hit that subscribe button if you're new, and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, as both of those things really help out the channel a lot. But let's get right into it here. Dallas Stars first round picks 2005 through 2015, starting in 2005 where they selected 28th overall and took defenseman Matt Niskanen. Now this is a massive, massive hit, as Matt Niskanen has gone on to be a tremendously solid NHL defenseman for a number of different teams. He's played for Dallas, he's played for Pittsburgh, Washington, now with Philadelphia, and I still think he has a few more good years left in him going forward. Matt Niskanen has put a very, very solid career together. Almost 1,000 career games at 949, 72 goals, 284 assists, 356 career points, and a plus 112 rating. A extremely solid two-way defenseman. Could chip in and put points up offensively. Pretty good in his own end as well. Not strictly defensive, not strictly offensive. A very two-way defenseman with Matt Niskanen. And a really, really solid player. For 28th overall, this pick was a massive home run, as he's put together a tremendous career. 2006, they selected 27th overall and took another defenseman, this time Ivan Vishnevsky. Now this one is about the exact opposite of Matt Niskanen, as this is a huge miss. Vishnevsky only played 5 career NHL games, scoring no goals, 2 assists for 2 points and a -1 rating. Again, barely even touched NHL ice, obvious miss there. 2007 and 2008, the Stars did not have a first-round pick. So we move on to 2009, where they selected 8th overall. And with that pick, they took right wing Scott Glenny. And this is a massive, massive, massive miss, as Dallas had a top 10 pick, a chance to draft a franchise-changing player, a star, superstar level player, and right wing Scott Glenny only ever played 1 NHL game in his career. No goals, no assists, no points, everything zeros across the board. Massive, massive disappointment that Scott Glenny turned out to be, and one of the biggest draft busts of the 2000s. But Dallas definitely missed with that one. 2010, they had the 11th overall pick, and with that pick, they took goaltender Jack Campbell. This one is also a miss, as when you're drafting a goaltender in the first round in general, but certainly in the top 15, it is a very risky pick. Goaltenders drafted early rarely work out, and I think as we've done more and more draft videos and draft content on this channel, we've seen that, whether it was through the redraft videos or these hit or miss videos, goaltenders drafted early rarely work out. They have a few times in a few situations. Marc-Andre Fleury certainly did, Carey Price certainly did, but more often than not, goaltenders drafted early do not go well, and Jack Campbell, for a 11th overall pick, has been a career backup in the NHL, more time spent in the AHL than the NHL, and has only ever played 64 NHL games in goal, where he's gone 23, 27, and 6 with a 2.58 goals against average and a 916 save percentage. Now, his individual numbers aren't bad. The 916 save percentage is good. 2.58 goals against average, very respectable. Losing record, but that's because a lot of his starts came when he was on the LA Kings, and you know, the Kings have been garbage for the past 2 years. So that makes sense. But Jack Campbell has never been an NHL starting goaltender. He's never certainly lived up to being an 11th overall pick. And quite frankly, he's not spent all that much time in the NHL for a guy that was drafted 10 years ago. So Jack Campbell, to me, is definitely a miss with that 11th overall pick. 2011, they selected 14th overall, and with that pick, they took Jamie Oleksiak, big defenseman. And I'm calling this one a hit, as Oleksiak has played 313 games in the NHL, scoring 18 goals, 40 assists, for 58 points and a -11 rating. Now, it's not about the points with Jamie Oleksiak. It's about defense. He is a big defensive defenseman. Add some toughness to the lineup as well. And Oleksiak is still on the, well, he took a detour, but he's back with the Dallas Stars now. He came into the league with Dallas, got traded to Pittsburgh, played in Pittsburgh for a short time, and now is back with the Dallas Stars. And he's become a regular on their back end. Now, he's certainly not a great defenseman. He's not a top 4 guy. He's a bottom pair, tough defensive defenseman, but he plays that role very well, and he's still a regular in their lineup. And, he's got over 300 games played. And, he's a defensive defenseman, so the points aren't as important, but he's got 58 career points. And, he's become an NHL player at least. And for a pick, in the middle of the first round like that, at least they got an NHL player for it. So I'm going to call that one a hit, as he still, I think has a career ahead of him as well. It's not like he's done with these career numbers. He's still, I think, going to be on the, at least on an NHL team's defense roster for years to come as well. 2012, they selected 13th overall. And with that pick, they took center Radek Faksa. And this is obviously another hit, as Faksa has become a pretty important player in the middle of that Stars lineup. He can be your second-line center or your third-line center, but he's really good, solid, middle-of-the-lineup guy. And he's played 351 games in the NHL, scoring 60 goals, 68 assists for 128 points, and a +15 career rating. He plays physical when he needs to. He's got a little bit of an edge to his game. He can get involved in the physical aspect. He's a really good defensive forward. He plays both ends of the ice very well. Definitely can be a shutdown type defensive forward. And just he's become a really important middle of the lineup guy for the Dallas Stars, and he's still on the team to this day. And I think he's going to be for a long time with the Stars. He's a really good player. So for 13th overall, Fox is definitely a hit. In 2013, they had 2 first-round draft picks in 2013. The first one coming 10th overall, where they took right wing Valeri Nichushkin. This one is a miss, as Nichushkin's time in Dallas was pretty much a disaster. Now, he's back in the league. This is kind of a complicated. He got drafted by Dallas, came up with Dallas. His time in Dallas was pretty much a disaster. He went back overseas, I believe, to Russia. Then he's come back to the NHL and now plays with the Colorado Avalanche. And actually, he had a pretty good year this year with Colorado. However, he's a depth scorer. He's got 288 career games played. He scored 36 goals and 65 assists for 101 points and a +39 career rating. He is a third-line depth scorer. And for a 10th overall pick, like I've said in many of these videos, when you're drafting in the top 10, you are looking for a star player, a franchise-changing player. And Nichushkin is definitely not that. He's a third-liner with Colorado now. And his time with Dallas was, I mean, an absolute disaster. So that one is a miss for sure. They drafted again 29th overall in 2013 and took center Jason Dickinson. And now this one is a hit, as over the last couple years, Dickinson has become a regular in the Dallas Stars lineup, a very good bottom 6 forward for them, and somebody who I think, is just a really, really solid depth player. And for 29th overall, late in the first round like that, I mean, that's still a hit in my opinion. To get an NHL level player out of that is pretty good. And he's played 170 games, scoring 18 goals, 30 assists for 48 points and a +12 rating. Not big point totals, not a big score, but like I said, he's mostly been a fourth liner, a depth guy for them. But he's really, over the last 2 years, solidified his role in the Dallas Stars lineup, in that he's become an NHL regular. And I think for a 29th overall pick, that makes him a hit. In 2014, they selected 14th overall, and with that pick, they took defenseman Julius Honka. And this one is a miss, similar to Nichushkin. He came up with Dallas, and his entire time with the Stars has pretty much been a disaster, as Julius Honka has now requested a trade from the team. I believe he's back over playing in Finland right now. He's not in the NHL, not even in the AHL, not with the Dallas Stars in any aspect other than they own his rights. But he has requested a trade. He doesn't want to play for the team. And this pick has turned into an absolute disaster, similarly to how Nichushkin did. He's played 87 games in the NHL, scoring 2 goals and 11 assists for 13 points and a -7 rating. But he and the team are very much at odds now, and I don't think he's ever going to play in the NHL again for the Dallas Stars, certainly. Maybe they trade him. Maybe he stays in Europe for the rest of his career. Who knows? He's still a young defenseman. So I do think that at some point another team, might want to take a chance and trade for him and give him another NHL opportunity, but certainly not going to be with the Dallas Stars. And this pick so far at 14th overall has been a disaster. And finally, 2015, they selected 12th overall, and with that pick, they took right wing Denis Gurianov. And this one is a hit, as this season particularly has been Gurianov's first full-time NHL season, and he's become a pretty darn good middle-of-the-lineup type scorer for them. Now, mostly a third liner at this point, but again, he's still very young. He was just drafted 5 years ago. He's still in his early 20s. He's just breaking into the NHL now. But in 86 games played, he's got 21 goals, 12 assists for 33 points and a +1 rating. Like I said, this year was really his first year fully in the NHL. And, he played well with Dallas this season and chipped in quite a bit offensively and had a good season. So Gurianov's career is just getting off the ground, just starting really at the NHL level at least. But I'm going to say it's a hit. I think he has a bright future, and he's become this season a pretty, important player in their lineup. So there you have it, guys. That is hit or miss for the Dallas Stars. Obviously, pretty mixed bag here with Dallas. They had certainly some big-time hits. Niskanen was a hit. Let's see. Dickinson's become a good player. Radek Faksa has become a good player. I think Gurianov has a bright future, but definitely some big-time misses as well, as Vishnevsky only played 5 career games. Glenny was a massive, probably the biggest miss in Stars draft history. Jack Campbell did not turn out how they thought he would. Nichushkin was a disaster. Honka has been a disaster. Pretty mixed bag here from the Dallas Stars. But there we have it. That's the end of this episode, guys. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.